Good evening, everybody, and welcome back here in studio. I'm John Rallis, and I'm going to be alongside my co-host, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples, and we have got a action-packed weekend ahead, and we're going to carry that over to next weekend as well. Obviously, Pepsi North America Cup eliminations taking center stage on Saturday night, but we've also got some eliminations tomorrow night as well. Plenty to look forward to, and looking forward to doing it all with you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you. And this will be maybe our second NA Cup working together. Were you here for the last one?
Third.
It is third one?
Yeah.
I know it was you, me, and Elisa the first time. And then this time it sounds like it's going to be you, me, and Elisa again.
Full circle.
Full
my
circle.
First NA Cup, the three of us.
Yeah.
And my third NA Cup will be the three of us again.
I can't believe it's here.
I know. I can't believe this is
It's
my
2
third
weeks
one.
away,
Yeah,
like
I've been
a week
saying,
and a half.
You know, it's funny. January came, and I was thinking to myself, it's going to be right around the corner.
Yeah.
And then I'm watching the show, listening to you and Chad talking about it, and you guys said it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
You know, baby races are already up and carded. You know, I mean, this is this time of the year, John. This is it. This is the nitty gritty. This is the throwdown.
So we've got 6 baby races tomorrow, I believe. I don't know how many we've got on Saturday.
I think 6 and maybe 7.
They haven't drawn yet, maybe, or is it 7 on Saturday?
I think it's like 6 or 7 on Saturday as well.
Looking forward to it. You know,
Yeah, me too.
You love baby races too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my most favorite time of the year.
Watch them a few times, try and dissect some of their characteristics for the first time on the racetrack, and just watching them develop, right? It's kind of like the stars that we're going to see this weekend. We got to see them from the very day one, and now we get to watch them see what they can do here on the Grand Circuit level this weekend. But there's going to be lots of action, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I remember a couple times in my career there, you'd baby race a young horse or whatever, and you'd just be so ecstatic about the way that he'd come, but you didn't really show much. Mm-hmm. And you'd come off of him, and the trainer or the owner would say to you, geez, was he no good? And you're like, whoa, was he ever? Then by the time they actually saw the written line or watched the replay over again, it's, you know, then they understand, you know, that, yeah, he was really, really good. And that was the whole beauty of it. Just don't show them too much too early. And then when they start to race for money, it just seems like they're ready to go.
And how satisfying is it, Randy, having sat behind so many, just sitting behind one that's finally figured it out? Like, how satisfying is it just when it just clicks? Yeah.
It's got to be what people like. I'm not going to put myself there or whatever, but it's got to be sort of along the same lines as a teacher with a kid. Yep. Or a coach with a young guy playing hockey or baseball or something. You know, the talent's there, but then all of a sudden they get it. You know, and that was my big thing, is just, you know, and every once in a while you'll stumble onto one that doesn't need to be taught nothing. He knows exactly what he's doing from the time that he walked onto the track. Now, that's rare, but it does happen.
Yeah, some obviously go into the sales ring and you know that they're going to be superstars, and others kind of just fly under the radar.
They do.
Well. Kind of like the North America Cup winners over the last couple of years, right? Nobody expected Dajinski to kind of catapult himself into the top of the Glamour Boys division. It's my show. I mean, I don't think he won a race as a 2-year-old. Yeah. And he was a North America Cup champion as well. So, yes, there's going to be some maybe sleeper prospects as well, especially starting out from 2 and beyond.
Yeah, it is. It's just a great time of the year. And, I mean, and you know, then you think to yourself as a driver, like, I mean, you're really only invested 5% into what that horse is going to do. So then you think to yourself, if you're excited on your 5%, what's the owner and the trainer thinking about, you know what I mean, as these, you know, horses baby race and they show a little potential, and now they get into big races and that, and, you know, it's just going to be one of those pinch me sort of situations.
And kind of before we touch on maybe what's ahead, even going to this weekend for you, how tough was it for you, obviously, getting listed on, you know, babies?
Multiples?
Yeah, multiples. Yeah. Like, how did you determine which one you were going to take? Because, like, do you do your due diligence? Do you call trainers and just kind of get a feel for each one? Like, how did you decide which ones you were going to take?
I spent a lot of time in the mornings.
Okay.
You know, before they were ready to go, I'd kind of go out to different barns that I got a lot of action from and went with them in the mornings. And then I just more or less just go by who would usually tell me the truth. You know what I mean? Like, everybody likes their babies this time of the year. You know, this is the best baby I've ever trained. This is the best horse you're ever going to drive. You know, and you hear that from certain people. But other people, they're just, you know, they just tell you the way that it is. Yeah, this thing's pretty wicked. So I would always give a little bit more credibility to the ones that maybe didn't fib and pull my leg.
Yeah, and it's funny, like even James obviously talking about when he got a chance to sit behind Chantilly, Wicked and Single really impressed him. So he thought it was a tough decision, but I think ultimately he just said, I think this filly might have a little bit more. And I remember that overnight, or maybe it was a gold when they competed against each other, and she just blew by Wicked and Single and just showed a turn of speed that was like, wow. And I think, you know, everybody kind of realized, okay, and even James for that matter realized, all right, I think I picked the right one. And so far, she's been exceptional. And looking forward to seeing her compete this weekend along with others. And we'll get to the competition level this weekend as well. But no Doug McNair for tonight's card. Just announced no Doug 1 through 6, I should say. Sorry, 1 through 6.
So we get his presence on the end of it.
Yeah.
There. Well, thank you, Mr. Beaker.
We'll get his presence as well on the weekend as well, because he's going to be sitting behind a couple of
that's when he
North
brings
America
the game.
Cup
That's when Dougie brings game.
Yeah. The money's down.
I love Dougie's game.
Oh yeah, he's going to be looking forward to this weekend. We saw some game performances from a couple of them that he sat behind as well. And he's going to get a chance to sit behind plenty of talented horses along with many other drivers as we look ahead to tomorrow night, Randy, because we've got plenty of eliminations to look forward to as well as we gear up for the weekend. And we're going to start off with the Armbro Flight eliminations. And we're familiar with this mare. It's $18,500 yearling purchase, Randy, and she's gone on to do some great things. And we're going to get a chance to look at MM's Dream tomorrow night.
Yep. She's going to be, and I'm not, I probably shouldn't tell anybody that, but Randy's going to put her up on top. He's going to take a real risk here, John, and throw Eminem's Dream up on top.
Well, she was tight for sure, and we're going to see from this replay just how tight she was. Well, we didn't get to see the full race, but this is the House Square who Oka Svanstedt debuted last time out in North America, and she went some wicked quick panels. She needed that line, but I mean, she trotted some quick panels in between.
Didn't Eminem's Dream take a bit of a park here?
Yep.
Yeah, big park to the half. Looked like it was going to be a remove, and then Aki said no remove.
No thanks, and MM Dream's going to be coming in really tight, I would say, coming into tomorrow night's effort. And look at on the end of it, that's Elisa Hanover, who we're going to get a chance to look at as well. Really good performance. Another Oka Svanstedt trainee, Nelson Bright Eagle. This is her victory in the FanDuel Championship Open Mares Trot. He's loaded for bear in the mare trotting division, Randy.
It's just amazing, the job that he does with his horses. It seems like they all look like $1 million. It seems like they race like $1 million. And he's one of the few trainers that I've seen that, doesn't need basically any kind of a rotation to have his horses, he can have a horse out for 3 months and you got to use it.
Well, with Raja one, right? When we saw him miss so much
that
time.
was a year.
You know what? Sometimes he sends out horses just with one qualifier. And I remember asking him in the paddock, him and Sarah Svanstedt, I go, why just one qualifier? They said, we don't have time.
Yeah.
They've just got too many, but they get good training miles into them as well, and we know that they come into sharp. And there's a look at the first elimination, a field of 6. Dial Square is going to be the morning line favorite. MM's Dream and Nelson Bright Eagle also in that race, and you can see a couple local hopefuls as well. Emoji Hanover and Tactical Strike. Tactical Strike, really good qualifying effort
Very
coming
good
into
qualifier, yeah. She's going to have to step it up a little bit in against this crowd, though.
She will, and we're going to look at the second elimination here. And speaking of pretty talented trotting mares, Drawn Impression will be making her seasonal debut off a trio of qualifiers, I believe it was, and I thought those were some good efforts in the morning. I mean, how about this win over in the Peaceful Way when she was 2? It was just she's done some good things so far early on in her career, Randy.
She is, but I mean, it just seems like he's got so many good horses,
Bred to be a star, this one.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting this whole weekend of some of these Blaze starters coming out.
And we got to look at Elisa Hanover in that, other replay where she was hard charging to be second. This was an effort in a Pennsylvania Sire Stakes event over at Chester last season, and she just got better as the season went on. And some people said maybe she didn't take on the best company, Randy, but I think she's going to be a really nice addition to this Open Mares division.
Yeah, I mean, and something. Even if she's just competitive with them, I'm sure that the connections will be really happy. When you get up into the Grand Circuit, it's not really a dominant kind of a horse, but if they're competitive, they're going to make money.
I know you're a big fan of good lookers. You got wait till you see Elisa Hanover tomorrow night. She is as gorgeous as they come.
I know, but she's red, John. She's a chestnut.
Okay.
Randy's showing his age, John.
Call me Goo. There you can see a happy winner circle there from Team Skinner. I know Oka Svanstedt also got this talented trotting mare. But the Skinners did such a good job developing this mare, Randy, in the Maryland Sire Stakes program. For her to be a Grand Circuit winner, as her career has progressed, exceptional job building a foundation, and Oka Svanstedt's going to try and maybe take it a little step further.
Yeah, I mean, definitely has always shown, great flashes of brilliance and that. Kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with Willie's home run. You know what I mean? She's never really been able to get into a groove yet. So I'm kind of interested to see what she's going to do dropping in against straight mares again.
And I'm excited for this division as well. Spoiler alert, I'm going to key Drawn Impression tomorrow night, and hopefully that she can get it done off the shelf. Did you go in that direction as well?
I think so.
Yeah. Luke's been sending them out ready. So we're going to hope that hope that he can send this one out ready. And we're going to
We
go.
don't even have to show up tomorrow night.
That's
we're
it.
going to do it tomorrow night, or
Like,
tonight's, or
might as
tomorrow
well-
night's tonight.
We're so excited we couldn't wait to get to it tonight. We're going to look at these good times eliminations tomorrow. There's a look at Gap Kronos, who was able to inherit this victory after Go Dog Go was able to jump it off on the lead. And another talented Oka Sponstead trotter, Andy.
Yeah, very, very talented horse. That horse was trying to pace early up on top, but boy, oh boy, he's got some serious ability there. But the Oka one there, you know, I mean, one thing about him is horses very rarely make mistakes.
I got very lucky. I was at Lexington that day. I did have a wager on Gab Kronos, and I just said, all right, I'm toast. And there goes Go Dog Go, who is one of the main Hambletonian contenders. And speaking of pretty good contenders, landing on time, how good has he been for Rick Zeron?
Absolutely unbelievable. And I mean, it would really be nice to see Rick back in the Hambletonian, you know, winner circle, or even just being able to race there. I know Ricky's always been a big trotting kind of guy, so I just know what it means to him when he gets one that's good enough for there.
And there's a look at the first elimination. Again, some horses that have really impressed so far this Randy, especially here in the provincial program. P.L. Spencer, who's really elevated his game. LMC Wagon Wheel, that was a good effort last time out, closing from the back. But Gab Kronos and Landing on Time are going to be the headliners. Cover Band, I know you've been expecting a little bit more from this guy. So far, he hasn't really panned out early on this year.
He hasn't, but I think that we still got enough time that, you know, he can kind of put it together because the speed's there. I think the speed is there.
Yep, and he showed that as a 2-year-old. And a big step up tomorrow night against some pretty good company. We're going to look at the other good times of Lim, and we talked about talented Luke Blais trotters. Another one that's bred to be a star, and that's a Motocon Legacy.
I'm going to put him up on top too. You as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, pretty tough not to. The way he looks last year and the way that he's qualified back this year, I think that you know, definitely Luke Blais is going to have himself a serious weekend.
I remember that Louis said that he had a tendency to get keyed up at times, and he tried to maybe not want him to be on the front because of that. I think we saw him run the one time earlier on in one of his starts last year, I think. And I remember James kind of was able to come late in one of the eliminations and capture a victory. I forgot which elim it was, but he looked good on the front end in his qualifier. I believe we showed it when we worked together on Monday. So I think he's going to be awfully tough to beat in this elimination as you see the contenders that are in this division.
I put my brother's horse in for second.
Yep.
Wild Turkey Hanover.
Great.
I do. I think that he's as competitive in there. I mean, you know, he's not bringing what Luke Blais' horse is bringing, but anybody else, I think he's doing it, and he's doing it here.
He's been
you know
getting
what
better.
I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have to sit there and wonder what's a 52-mile here. You know, he's doing what he's doing here, you know. So I threw him in for second.
Getting better every start, too.
Seems to be.
Game effort, fended off a couple good ones, right?
Did, and raced him in front. You know, normally that's not his way, so.
Well, all right. Well,
Cookies are done.
We did pretty good for time, didn't we?
We did.
Right at the buzzer. All right, we touched on Friday, and we mentioned it's a busy weekend ahead, so we're going to go to Saturday and highlight some good elims. I'm excited for tomorrow's elims, but Saturday's the cream of the crop, Randy. That's where we get to see the top ones in both, you know, for the filly pace as well as the colt pace. And we touched on Mickey and Minnie earlier this week, Randy, and game effort here in the Breeders' Crown Final.
She did, yeah, really raced big, you know, and it's going to be interesting to see because she was always kind of a bit of a gangly kind of a filly. Going to be interesting to see, you know, if she grew much bigger and filled out much more. I find Chantilly didn't grow a whole lot bigger, but boy, oh boy, she muscled up.
Oh yeah, and she went some pretty big miles as well, and we could see that elimination or that division as well. I'm going to try and beat Mickey and Minnie. I went to Ration on top, spoiler alert. I'm going to try and beat her. I know it's a tall task, and I think that obviously she's the most talented, I think, out of this group of 6. But, you know, maybe who knows, maybe she won't be 100% fit going into this elim, and I'm sure she'll have more in the final. But I'm going to try and take a stab. Can't See Me, one that we're excited to see.
Yeah,
this
I
filly
could be
really,
going her way.
Yeah, she's got ability, so hopefully she can come out of that. She was scratch sick in her latest, I believe, or was it
I just think it was more or less a situation of going to be too much, you know, race and then come right back a few days later, you know.
And Perfectly Chic, she had a really nice 2-year-old campaign. I know she fell under the radar against some of the, you know, obviously having to race against the likes of Chantilly, but really nice freshman campaign by her.
And we're a lot of ways too. It might work out to Perfectly Chic is if Chantilly's not here for a gold. She's definitely, if she's not here, Chantilly, Perfectly Chic's right top 2.
And we're gonna get a look here at Chantilly, and a really nice debut here, really nice year, and so far a good start to the year, I should say, for Nicolucci's filly. And that's not Chantilly though, so we will be. I believe we got a different graphic there, but nevertheless, Randy, anytime we get a chance to talk about her, that was
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's just an amazing horse. They only come around every now and again. The last pacing filly that I'd say, that's more or less kind of put into her would be Fan Hanover. That's back like in, the late 70s, early 80s. I would say that her owned by the great Glenn Brown. But I remember her. I remember when she took the boys on in the jug, and everybody thought that Glenn Garnsey had fallen and hit his head. But she proved everybody wrong and proved him right, because she was the winner of the jug.
And obviously, we won't get to see her compete against the boys this weekend, but we touched on this matchup earlier too. This is going to be one heck of a matchup. They don't square off in the eliminations, but hopefully we get a chance to see them square off in the final. And that 49. I know a touch faster last year for Mickey and Minnie at 2, but that 49 and 4 mile, under those conditions, how good does that stack up against that mile?
Well, that too, and just the way that she came out that first start, which was cool, but the way that she looked in the second start, wow, what a huge step up. So it almost looks like she's going to do the same thing as last year. Every time that she races, she's going to get a little bit better and a little bit better, you know what I mean? And I think that that's the way that Gallucci's kind of more or less pointing her. She's going to have a big campaign this year, and if he tries to get it all early in the year, I think it's going to leave her, wanting a little bit towards the end. So I think he's just kind of have to manage her right through the entire season. But boy, oh boy, what fun it would be to manage one like that.
And I think the only race that she's going to race outside of Ontario, I believe, is going to be the Lynch at Pocono.
Oh, okay.
So
she's not in the Jugette either?
I'm not 100% sure about that, but...
Be interesting to see her in that as well.
See how, I guess we'll take it week by week with her, month by month. I guess that's what they'll do. But you know what? Even though she's not competing against the boys, the fact that she actually nominated herself, I think that's going to open the doors for some other talented fillies in the future to kind of put themselves out there too. She opened the door for a lot of talented fillies.
She did, but like I said as well, though, Chantilly's only come around once in a blue moon.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where you actually think that you got the goods to go in against the boys and beat them,
Well,
so
we won't see her in the NA Cup Elims, but we're going to see plenty of other contenders as well, Randy, and I'm really excited for this one. And our first look here is Captain Optimistic. I thought this was obviously had some steering issues at 2. He always showed a lot of talent. I believe we saw him compete here at the Metro as well, but he looked straight and strong in this qualifier for Nancy Tactor. And just one start for him. He did get beat by a pretty talented colt who's not paid into much, but I thought he looked really good here. What about you?
Oh, yeah, he looks good. Looks like he's maybe filled out a little bit more than some of the other ones that I've seen, come back. He looks like he's muscled up real good. And, the beauty of coming out of Nancy Tactor's stable, she's done this again and again and again. She knows exactly what she's doing.
You know that they want to win the elimination because she has a tendency to draw unlucky here at times, but she did win with Captain Crutch from the 8 hole. So.
Right.
All right, we're going to take a look at Swingtown, one that we got a chance to see here last year in the Metro. And a really nice, easy score over at Scioto against Stallion Series Company.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. You're on a 5/8 mile. You more or less get things your own way. Nice little training trip for them, but still coming out of a powerful barn.
Probably the third best colt, I would say, in the Burke stable. I mean, he's kind of flying under the radar a little bit because he's got a couple other talented ones as well. And there's a look at elimination number 1. We never showed the replay on Bourbon County, but I know that's one you're excited to see on Saturday.
Yeah. Real good effort there. And I mean, I think, again, he fits in there as good as anybody does, Obviously, Captain Optimistic's going to be, tough, and Swingtown, but this Bourbon County, be nice to see, I would say Trevor and Paul Reed, campaigning in the NA Cup.
I would say this might be the lighter of the division. I think there's talented horses in each of them, but I would say this is probably the lighter of the
I would
three.
Agree.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at we're going to look at our Metro winner from last year, Follow, a big mile over at Lexington. How impressive was he in both his starts last year here in Ontario?
Yeah, very impressive. You know what I mean? And, it was funny, too, because towards the end of last year, I don't know about down there, but up here you get these little rumblings about maybe Tim Tetrick getting a little long in the tooth, maybe he's not the dominant driver he once was. Well, anytime that you give Tim Tetrick power, he's going to turn back into Tim Tetrick. You can't you can't make chicken salad out of chicken feathers. So I mean, the horse has to be there, and I think that we Dietrich proved that last year.
Well said, and looking to capture North America Cup glory with one of his the sire who gave him his first one, with one of his progenies. That would be a pretty cool moment for him coming full circle. We talked about Burka trainees though, Randy, and sipping on Ciroc. I believe the fastest mile for any 2-year-old, world record mile at Lexington last year, and another just what you call a training mile here at Scioto.
Yeah, I mean, and a few of these horses too. Like they, towards the end of the year, maybe they weren't doing exactly what we were hoping. They looked a little stale towards it, but now they're all freshened up and ready to go. So that's the beauty of the NA Cup. You're early in the year. They've only had a few starts underneath them. You're getting horses very, very fresh.
And look at this division, or look at this elimination.
Yes,
Madden
that's a
Oaks really impressed us, but you've got the 8-hole now in this group. It's a really, really tough draw for him. Light up the world. First over trip, I thought he was sharp. What do we make of Crackshot?
I tell you, I like him, but I'm not going to say that I like him any better than that 2-horse. I love the way that 2-horse is racing, because I think that Blake's horse actually likes a helmet more than he does chopping.
And Billy Davis's first time competing in a North America Cup of Limb as well, so a really good opportunity for him. We've got a few guys competing in it for the first time, and speaking of the one to beat though, Blueprint, this is the one that everybody's kind of got their talk of the town, and that's as good of a trip as you could ask for, prepping into North America Cup of Limbs.
Yeah, absolutely. He's ended his year strong, and he came back strong. So he's going to be tough to deal with. But some of the ones that I've seen up here, I think that they can kind of go with a few of these, and this here being maybe one of them.
What a game effort that was.
That was, and that big gate is. My goodness.
I think it speaks volumes of the confidence Dave Miller had in Prince Al Hanover. He got a chance to qualify a railroad station, who didn't end up entering in the box, but his qualifiers leading up to his 3-year-old campaign were sharp. Who did Dave Miller opt for when the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes came out? Prince Al Hanover.
Yeah, that's just because he likes hanging out with Doc.
I would say he seems like a pretty fun character.
Who, Doc?
Oh yeah. Maybe I'm understating
fun
that.
as attacking your shoe.
And look at this division here, and like field of 7 there. Obviously, that's Blueprint. I'm curious to see how that elimination is going to go, because it almost feels, is everyone else racing for place essentially in that elim, and what's the complexion of that race going to be like because of that?
Yeah, I mean, who knows until you see it. They're not overly big fields. I'm more interested in sometimes is when these horses come here and they make their first start on our surface, because everybody kind of thinks that this surface is the same as the Meadowlands, and it's not the same surface at all. So sometimes you'll see them come up here wearing certain shoes, and then if they get into the final, whatever, by the final, all of a sudden all that starts to change. So to me, this time of the year, you watch the trainers, the moves that they make, and that, to me, it's just all like a big chess game.
And what do you make of like maybe the first elimination of the night? Because some of these horses are coming in, they're not accustomed to the track, the shadows. We've seen horses kind of struggle with that opening turn in the past. Is that something that you would factor in coming into the NA Cup of Limbs as well?
Oh, I think so, yeah. And like I said, in my time there, a lot of times these guys would send horses up to Greenwood, or at that time, that's when the NA Cup, the Queen City, would be held. They would send them up a week or two just to get them set up for that track.
All right, that's the sound of the buzzer.
I had
a lot of fun talking NA Cup and Armbro Flight and Fan Hanover Limbs, but I don't know when the buzzer is going to sound on this bad boy. I mean, that's a pool that's climbing. Oh, we will be freezing it after Saturday, June 7th. See, I'm learning as we go, Randy.
There you go.
That's a big, big number that it's at right now. I don't know exactly where it's at, but great wagering opportunity.
The carryover
in a couple
tonight,
weeks.
John, is 385 plus.
Big number. I can't remember the last time it got that big.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's being froze Saturday.
Yep.
So hopefully, we'll go into NA Cup, with a huge,
even more reason
carryover.
Yeah, even more reason to look forward to.
Just makes the whole night more exciting.
Big time. Just makes it even bigger, and that carryover is going to keep on climbing and climbing and climbing, and hopefully can be a competitive race can be fielded in that event, and we're looking forward to a good night of wagering and a good night of action as well.
Oh, I think so. Just got to. The big thing is weather has to cooperate, right? There's nothing that takes away racing worse than bad weather.
I was watching some replays from the Breeders' Crown a few years ago, and it was just pouring rain at the Meadowlands. It's never fun.
Yeah.
All right, there's a second buzzer there, so we're going to get to the action of tonight, Randy. A lot to cover.
Yes.
Even tonight, so we're going to get
just
right
with
into
10 races.
Exactly. We're going to go straight into the replays. Oh, we're going to go to the track plays first, I should say. I apologize. And again, we're going to look at the chasers, closers, and pace setters and where they were at the 3/4 mark, and pretty consistent list, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually seen one on this in race 10 there, where he got away fifth. That's one of the furthest ones back we've seen. We have seen the odd 4, but pretty well everything is, you know, first, second, first, second, first, second. So the 5th down on the bottom. You know, I think they've done a bit of resurfacing on this track, and I think as the track tightens up or whatever, you're going to be able to win from more places other than just being first and second.
Yeah, and you want to be close certainly this weekend, especially when top 3 make the North America Cup final. You definitely want to be close to the action and not give yourself too much work.
No.
So, all right. Well, there's a look at some of the housekeeping and some of the other preview that we have to look forward to this weekend, and we've still got to look forward to tonight, though. I thought tonight's 10-pack, I think there's some horses that you can maybe go by off some trouble trips. And I know that you sent in a bunch of replays that kind of highlight exactly what I'm talking about. And some good performances and good efforts from some of these horses tonight from last week as well.
Yeah, a lot of last week, too. There, it seemed like everything that I picked for second win and everything that I picked for win was second. Yeah. So I'm getting a bunch of these pick for win coming back again.
And you're going to show a replay on a horse right now that did finish second last time out. And that's the morning line favorite, the 3-horse Outbound Train. I wasn't sure what to make of him last time out. He did get support, second choice at 2-1, but how good was that effort?
Yeah, real good effort too, and that's coming up from Oak Grove in his last. You know, had to do a little bit of trucking around and that. So obviously, you know, here got a home right now, coming from the Bobby Stewart barn into Sean Stacy stable, and comes up with what I would say a really nice effort for Bobby. Louis Waugh going to be your driver tonight. Bobby's not with us tonight on this Thursday night card, so Louis Waugh picking up a nice drive with this guy. And one thing about Louis, John, he's one of those drivers that he adjusts to everything quickly, but he especially adjusts to trotters very quickly. So Outbound Train making a big move out of the 7-hole on the end of it, and look at the body language on Dougie or on Bobby. You know, he is not going to be able to get there, but he's going to be close. And on the run out, you can see he is, launched and loaded. So I got Outbound Train in for second. I am going to go Call Me Parker up on top. I don't know why he made that break. I mean, you know, he was locked, loaded, cooled out, and ready to head to the winner's circle 3/4 of the way down the lane, and then all of a sudden he just exploded. And I'm not 100% sure. I heard the rumor was that the horse jumped the shadow. Okay. Now, as a pacer, you could think, but trotters don't usually do that. It's rare to see a trotter wearing a shadow roll out there, so we'll have to see what Ben has on him tonight. But I'm going to go back to him. I had him on top last week. I thought he was the easiest of winners in his last start until he made that unfortunate decision to jump it off just before the wire. So going to go back to him. Outbound Train in for second. And the Greg McNair pupil, only a couple of starts into him, but I think Jody's going to be picking himself up a live drive here with Fireflies and Thunder. What about you? Where'd you go?
I went all in on outbound Train off that effort. Call Me Parker, just really unlucky so far throughout his career. Good trips, he can't get it done. The moment he's home and cooled, he jumps it off. Just unlucky.
Exactly, eh? Like, I mean, I don't understand that, but I mean, the ability is there. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if, how he looks out on the track tonight.
Good draw to work with, just has to keep it going. All right, we're going to switch over to race number 3. We're going to stay on the trot, Randy, and morning line favorite is the 4-horse Supergirl Molly. Boy, I tell you, that effort was a good one. Yeah,
we got 2 replays to show you in this one. Where are you going, 4 or 5?
I'm actually going to go to Resolved. I'm going to go a little bit of a wild card.
Okay, I got this one in for third. Interesting. Okay, so Supergirl Molly, let's take a look at this one. She's going to be my top pick in here, John. Had 2 qualifiers, after coming up with in the gold and the super final from last year, shut down by Dale Devine, and then has been brought back. Had 2 qualifiers under her belt. 8-hole to deal with in her first start, where she ends up making a break, around the last turn. And then her last start, 9-hole, where they just take her to the back and let her come. But boy, oh boy, she come. And that's Trevor with her, and she is a big drink of water, this girl. That's her coming on the outside. And what's interesting about her is that it doesn't even seem like her gait is getting any faster. She's just kind of picking them up and throwing them back down again. I thought she showed real good wheels here again. And on the run out, she is rocking and rolling. So the 10-horse in that race, 4-horse tonight, Supergirl Molly, going to be my top pick. But let's take a look at the 5-horse, her next-door neighbor in this race. This is going to be Eternal Embrace. This is a 3-year-old Green Manalishi coming out of the Julie Walker stable. This was going to be James's first start with this one. And I thought it was a good one, had good movement on the end of it, trotted an overall mile of 57 and 4. But I think that, to me, Supergirl Molly showed me more ability last year. And even in this replay, I thought she showed me just a little bit more ability on this one. So what about you with Resolved? I got Resolved in for third. You're just willing to throw that last line out? Really didn't do much?
I just think that when we see this change, Shane Weber to Ben Bergeron, I think that we see some good efforts. I'm kind of hoping that maybe the change of scenery is going to result in a trip to the winner's circle. But I thought this was a really good effort, right? Second start of her career, first time with James McDonald. You could see how patient he was. He could have tipped her 4 wide at the final turn, but you've got a 3-year-old filly trotter making her second lifetime start. Just waited till the lane. He did lose ground on that turn a little bit, but like you said, I thought she was moving well on the end of it.
I agree with you. I really do. And I mean, the thing I also like about Supergirl Molly is that he's got different ways he can race her. He can race her in different ways. But Resolved, you're good to go with this one.
I'm going to try a little bit of a wild card player. I'm curious to see what we're going to see from Trudy Bird. That's one that I kind of want to wait and see approach on, but not one that I could have pegged as a serious player just yet.
Yeah, no, interesting gate. Big long gate on this Ken Susi trainee there, but I'm with you. I'm going to kind of maybe take a wait and see approach.
All right, we're going to move on to race number 4, and we like to highlight some trouble trips sometimes, Randy. And the morning line favorite here, Job Hunter. We're going to get nothing close to 3-1. I think we'll get as low as I honestly think we're going to get 1-5 tonight.
I agree.
I think she's going to get pounded at the windows, deservedly so, and we're going to see exactly why here.
Did you go her?
Yeah, all in.
How can you not?
I couldn't go against
this trip. So, Job Hunter going to be my top play in here as well. The horse that's going to come first over in here, the Libby horse, Inuk Shook Sally. I'm going to throw this one in for second. I thought this was a real good effort because she goes just enough to keep Job Hunter down into that 2-hole. I thought Chasing Rainbows also raced good in here for Jameson. You can see him down in the 3-hole right now. He's not going to get much luck in here either. And Kira Seelster threw her in on the bottom, but, I think that, fourth isn't a big ask, and she's going to get a little bit better. Now, Jody does start to tire, but look at James here. I mean, he has got no place to go and no place to apply it either. So Job Hunter going to be my top pick in there.
I'm sure James was expecting an extra Sally to maybe tire a little bit so he could find a seam to his outside, but just absolutely no room. Superior Delight, she's going to take you where you need to go. But obviously she labors on that final turn a little bit, so sometimes that just kind of gives other rivals an opportunity to come up alongside or maybe even get half a length in front. Unfortunately, just didn't work out for Job Hunter, but that's 2 starts where she's coming off third place efforts. And that one, you have to absolutely feel like she's sitting on a huge effort tonight.
Yeah, and the thing was, Job Hunter is a Huntsville, and I've said this right from the very beginning, John. I'm not big on the Huntsvilles in front. What I like is when they come from off the pace, much like what she did right there. I think if she comes off of that horse's back, she literally explodes. You know what I mean? I love that trip for a Huntsville. Not used. Get out late. Wow, can they ever move fast? We've seen the same thing with Jazzville before.
And Kira Seelster, one that you highlighted, another bad draw tonight. I wish she drew a little bit better tonight. But one
Me
that
too.
I think
She's getting close though,
She definitely is. And race 5 is going to close out the early pick 5, always guaranteed at $75,000. Morning line favorite is a 7-horse Lasting Dream, and she just stands out on talent and class here, Randy, versus this group, and I think she's going to be good enough to go first asking. What say you?
I agree. Completely agree with this one as well, John. We can take a look at this last replay. I don't really know what it's going to show you. She chops it all out. Tepid sort of fractions and gets picked off by the other Blay entry, but this one being the 3-year-old trotting colt as opposed to the filly, and that's Emoticon Legacy. But she did everything good, and what I liked about her too is she battled him. You can see he's going to come off of her back, and Tyler Jones was going with Lasting Dream in here. Louis is going to get back to her, but again, Louis comes with the colt, comes off of her back. What is she going to do? Tyler just lifts the whip, but never really applies it, never asks her to do anything, lets her see it. She battles him. They race good to the wire. Nice little sprint goes on there. But in this race, I think Lasting Dream is going to be almost unbeatable in here. But I'll tell you, I got Chicago Hall in for second, John, because I think that, his last 3 starts have been really, really tough. So in most cases, it's a drop down. But I really think that this McDonnell horse, Ungawa, he can come up and win, and I got him in for third. It's really, really interesting race. In my pick 5, I think I skipped Chicago Hall, who I more or less just put him in for being second or third. But I think that Ungawa's got the ability to maybe jump up and with a victory.
I'm with you. I put him on my pick 5 ticket. I think that's going to be tough to beat Lasting Dream, but Ungawa, I liked what I saw, like you said last time out. He's been keeping it together with the trotting hopples, and he's been moving a little bit better on the end of it as well.
I agree. And I thought last week, too, that Paul maybe asked a little bit more.
Yep.
That first start with the trotting hobbles, it seemed like he just wanted that clean line. That was his biggest, his biggest goal that race. Last week, he made him trot on the end of it, and this guy responded well.
All right, there's our thoughts to close out the early pick 5, and we're going to move on to race number 7. And we're gonna switch to the pace here. We've got a field of 8 and some horses that are struggling to find the winner circle in this group, though, Randy. And there's one in particular that has hit the board in 3 of her 6 starts this year. But I tell you, she's put forth some good efforts early on this year, and that's Cobra Kate.
That's where I went there too. Me too. I'm with you on this one there. The ability's there. Really is there. And we're going to get to see that in this last race. This is one of those horses that she's not going to get up for the win, but she came from a lot further back than first or second at the head of the lane, where most of them have been coming. She's way out of it, as a matter of fact. Cobra Kate, Phil Houdon, had the 8-hole, went right to the back, and she is going to make some ground up here. You can see her coming on the inside now with Phil. Like I said, had the 9-hole, but there was a scratch in there, so she left out of the 8-hole and makes some movement here. Got good wheels on the end of it. Really the only one that has big movement down through here. So I think that she can look good in this race. And I got Fluid in for third. Now, she's one that I think that's just starting to kind of come around, learn her lessons and that. I've used her, I've not used her. I really like the way that she's looked, used her the next week, and then it seems like she's come out and been a little bit flat. So I think that she's still kind of learning, but definitely the talent's there. Going to be a nice one for Chantel Mitchell. The one that's interesting to me, though, is this 2-horse,
okay.
Tall Dark Lady. Now, the reason being, I'm not going to show you that replay, and maybe I should, because the line really looks good. But what I will say is I thought that Scotty Young did an amazingly good job with this one last week. He had her in the exact right position, and when she snuck up the inside, I thought she was just going to bust. But as soon as she got that free air, she just kind of turtled up like a possum again, and just kind of let those outside horses get by her. So it's still, right now, it just seems to me like she's not quite on the edge of grasping that first win of the year. But she's getting awful close. And again, I thought great drive by Scotty Young. So going to throw her in for second, but Cobra Kate is going to be the way that I'm going to go.
We're going to need to see her get a little bit closer, I think, with Cobra Kate. She's got a middle of the gate draw. Maybe that's going to help. I'll tell you one thing. I like what you mentioned about Fluid. I thought that was a really good covered up trip 2 starts back where she was looking for room. And she took her shot last week and just, it was a nice filly on the lead, but she just didn't have much to offer. So I'm not sure if it's one that maybe looks a little bit better when she's covered up, but I think she's inching closer, and the competition is something that fits to her liking, I think, tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you on everything with Fluid as well, you know what I mean? And one of the other interesting things, too, is I also agree with the way that you've got to analyze that maybe she's just a better horse when she's down in amongst them, down on a helmet or whatever, not an aggressive approach. James McDonald, first start, he could make a big difference.
Merits a lot of respect. So we're going to move on to race number 10, and that's our finale here this evening. A field of 8, and the morning line favorite at 2-1. I believe she's going to be much lower than this number, deservedly so, is Millie Mae Hanover. Unlucky, Randy, but I think this is the first time she's ever been in a maiden in her young career.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not even going to show you that last gold. She finished 6th in there, but to me, maybe a little bit over raced, half in 55 seconds, 3/4 in 1:21 and 4. But last week in the SBOA final, she was also sitting up close to the 3/4 in 1:22 and 4. And you know something, John? To me, this was the best trip that I have seen Millie Mae Hanover go probably since I've seen her race. Great effort here by Dougie. I mean, come on, she's not going to beat Chantilly, but boy, oh boy, she raced good, and she was much the best of the rest of them. I think that if Dougie is able to find her the right kind of trip, that she's going to be able to get the job done. So it's going to be my top play in race number 10.
And Dougie was thrilled with that effort. The connections were thrilled with that effort as well. I mean, like you said, you're going toe to toe with the best filly, arguably the best filly in the division, or in North America, and you put forth that kind of performance. I think it's go time tonight. I didn't single her. Sometimes you just struggle to find the line. Just hard for me to single, but this has to be her spot, though.
I would agree.
Has
With
to
who
be.
do you like in for second?
You know what? I still don't want to give up on Stone Sawyer just yet. Unlucky trip, 2 starts back. The last time out, she was moving well first over and made a miscue again. I'm not sure the reason for the break last time out. Eternal Delight. What happens if she sits on somebody's back and has some go late? I know we didn't get to see her race last time out, but a really good second place effort on May 19th.
Yeah, and that was in a grassroots too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So almost like a little bit of a drop down. I got her in for third. I had her actually up on top the night she was scratched, the Eternal Delight. But I'm really impressed too with the Sarah B Delight. Going to throw this one in for second for me. I like the way that she's progressing as well. I think the J.R. Plant is really showing people what he's able to do with a young horse.
Couldn't agree more. And that closes out our late pick 5, but we're going to look at the early pick 5 ticket, and you've got a ticket that you supplied for us, and take us through it, Randy.
Well, in the race 1, you know, tough race, I thought, opened this one up. So I used all my picks in this one, John. Used 2, 3, 4, and 6, and my top pick is going to be the 2-horse Diamond Rider. In race 2, I go 3 and 6. That is going to be Outbound Train and Call Me Parker. Top pick being Call Me Parker. Race 3, 3 deep, 3, 4, and 5. Resolved, Supergirl Molly, and Eternal Embrace. I think I got that one kind of narrowed. And then race number 4, I am going to single. That's going to be Job Hunter. And then race number 5, back to 2 deep. And that's going to be Ungawa, who is my third pick, and 7-horse Lasting Dream. I am going to skip Chicago Hall because for whatever reason, I just don't see him as a win candidate. But again, if Lasting Dream I do see as a win candidate, and if she doesn't get the job done, I could see this McDonnell Trotter getting the job done.
I think you've got it covered. I think the first race, obviously, Diamond Rider is going to be the one to beat, but just tough to trust maybe putting together consistent efforts week in and week out. It really should be her spot without a doubt, but we'll see which one shows up at times, even though that effort last week was a really good one. All right, and there's a look at your early pick 5, but you have a late pick 5 that you'll show us later on in the card as well?
I do.
All right, perfect. And we talked about the Pepsi North America Cup and free ball cap giveaway on that night, so always giving out something. And, you know, the hats were nice last year. I believe it was a shoestring hat or something like that. Similar, but really, really nice giveaway here. And you can come on down, enjoy some races, and leave with some swag.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I'd wear that hat the whole show if they let me.
I look better in that hat than the cowboy hat they gave us a few years ago.
I remember that.
You can see we're going to stream obviously the simulcast here, through YouTube. For at Woodbine Mohawk Park, but it is also going to be televised on Game Plus. So
prime time.
There you go, prime time, right? Why not? The stars are out. Why not, broadcast our sport under the biggest stage as well?
Yeah, one of the biggest talents in horse racing that people never really hear that name very much, John. That's Curtis McDonald. They hear a lot of McDonald's, but not often as much Curtis.
Exactly. Does an incredible job, obviously, broadcasting, and an O'Brien Award winner for this past year, as well as our and Dan Patch Award winner, as well as our producer Luke as well, being a part of that.
Yeah, that Van Belkin guy's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. Speaking of talent as well. All right, we're going to go with the plays of the night, and we are going to start off with you, Randy, and take us through it.
Okay, so race number 5 is going to be my start, and that's going to be Lasting Dream. That's going to be my all-in play of the night. In race number 6, it's going to be Beat the Favor, and that's going to be Happy Angel for Gaetan Hebert and Billy Davis. Race number 7, Worth a Look, Cobra Kate. And I agree with John. She's got to get a little bit closer with that 5-hole. She's got to make use of it. And the Waples Watch is going to be Millie Mae Hanover, but you got to stick away all the way around to race number 10 for that one.
All right, there's a look at some other handicapping thoughts. And, you pretty much agree with a couple of these as well, right? Lasting Dream for Garnet Barnsdale, a spot play. And Doug Henwood going with a value play, Happy Angel. And Ghislaine Paquette, 2 in a row, Eurobank Hanover. He's been pretty sharp with the trotting hopples as well. So, excited for tonight. We covered a lot, but there's plenty to look forward to as well. And one claim entered on Diamond Rider.
Oh,
so we'll be
goodness.
going to a new home this evening as he drops down to 4-5. Well, they're going to be on track shortly and get set for our $75,000 guaranteed pick 5 pool, which you can play on the new HPI app, Randy. Just actually launched a new app, same as the website for them. Just download the app, and they've got facial recognition. I know you're not big on technology. All you got to do is show your face.
There you
and
go.
It just logs you right in. That's that easy.
Tell me and tell everybody else out there again, John, why is this opening pick 5 such a great play?
Oh, it's always 15% takeout. That's the biggest thing, right? So a good pool, a pretty good sequence. It's not who wins the sequence sometimes, it's who gets beat. So if you find a horse that's going to be a big price who gets beat, it's going to reap a pretty good reward. But I'm big on takeouts. You get a low takeout, a guaranteed number, sign me up.
Yeah, and like you said too, with this, it's not necessarily the guy that it's more or less a big chess game to start the night off,
Really
right?
is,
You know, where do you go? Do I use a favorite in the sequence, or do I go someplace where I just have a better feeling on this horse?
Well, we've seen you take a shot with plenty of singles as well. It's like what I'm going to do on Saturday night. I'm going to take a single, key duration, and hope that she's good enough to beat Mickey and Minnie, because I got to try and make it pay somehow.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, for sure.
All right, they're getting ready to go on track. We're ready for a big Thursday night here, which will kickstart what's going to be a fun weekend ahead. And Chad Rosema, he's with us tonight as well, and he's going to introduce us to the field in race number 1. Good luck.